Hello, Service Learning students. It is Thursday, the 30th of June, and I wanted to give you a quick video update to touch base on a few things and to let you know that I will post the rest of the lesson materials as soon as I can this afternoon. I've been trying to put some stuff together and I've been reviewing your draft proposal, so I'm a little bit behind, but I wanted to tell you right off the bat what we're going to be doing today, so that when you check in and you can open our lesson fully, you'll see there'll be some brief lesson notes that are basically going to summarize or say pretty much what I'm about to say on this video, and there will be links to two quizzes over Chapter 6 and Chapter 7, and that's basically the only assignment you'll have due today. I will also open the Friday forum early. I'll have that open this afternoon so that you can post questions, because I know we have a holiday weekend coming up of sorts, and we have no class on Monday because that is the 4th. So our next class meeting, kind of an anomaly, will meet on Tuesday, not on Monday. And here you can see the schedule on the main page of our course. And so we're here, and like I said, what we're going to do today, I will post all these materials in the lesson as soon as I can this afternoon, but we're going to have a quiz over Chapter 6 and 7 on learning through serving, and then you have your Friday forum that you need to post some questions for. This is the last installment of the book, and as you've gone through the book, I'm sure it's been a challenge because it's a very lengthy book, and there are some additional discussion questions at the end. And I think as we wrap up the book, we want to have a bit of a conversation about what your overall impression was. So just read through the discussion forum post instructions that I'll post today as carefully as you can, and just follow the instructions. But again, I'm posting those early so that you don't have to wait till tomorrow in case you're traveling or doing something this weekend for the 4th. And believe it or not, I am trying to give you a little bit of a break as much as I can from the scheduled activities. You have the two quizzes over Chapter 6 and 7 in the book, but I wanted to express a couple of points about this. Chapter 6 is on reflection, and so the quiz, and it's a fairly short chapter. The quiz, I don't know if you can see this, but in my text, there's a lot of discussion about deep reflection and how we get to the point where we get you to think about your experiences. Well, obviously, much of this is going to be more important when you do your final report at the end of the course. There's a large chunk of your final report that is focused on reflection. What did you learn from this experience? And so many of these activities, and actually some of them are tables and things like this, you'll see these appear in the handouts for your service project and for your final report. So we'll come back to these really. But for now, this will get you exposed to the notion of deep reflection. And in order to do proper reflection, you have to set yourself up. So when you go start your service in a week, activities in this chapter should help you be prepared to take thorough notes and be in a reflective state of mind. That's why you're doing the chapter now. It doesn't do a lot of good for us to go back after you've completed your service activities and say, oh, you should have taken better notes, and oh, you should have done this and that and the other thing in order to keep some of your points and ideas more fresh in your mind. So that's what's going to go on in this chapter. So just be a couple of quiz questions on this just to make sure you've read it. And then the next chapter has to do with mentoring, and it has this, the Johari window and a couple of other sort of theoretical ideas about mentorship and why it's important to, and this probably is best applied towards our thinking of our community partners and our relationships with them. But it's not as vital a chapter perhaps in what we're doing with our service. So it's a very short chapter. Just go through. You'll have a quiz over some of the key issues at the end. 2 separate quizzes, and just do your best on those. And you have plenty of time to work on those. If you want to wait until you come back after the 4th of July weekend, you'll have until noon on Tuesday in order to get those in. And just do your best with those. And then finally, I wanted to say a couple things about the papers or the proposals at this point, and this is the most important thing. So my goal is to return to you comments on your proposals, your draft proposals today by 5 p.m. So that you can do the most important thing, as you see in our schedule, is to have your final proposal turned in on Thursday of next week, so a week from today. So I am trying to clear the class a little bit and make sure that the concentration is mostly on getting that final proposal. Today, I am going to be either approving your proposals, and most of them will definitely get approved, or tentatively tell you what you need to do in order to get an appropriate proposal that can be accepted. You'll see that happen today. Again, the goal is to have these submitted to you by 5 p.m. And so what you'll need to do today, this is very important, is you'll need to come in and you'll need to go into the assignments area. And what you should see either in this part here that you have, this is a student view. This is what it looks like to you. You click on the proposal, you click on the material, and you should see a grade. And if you don't see it there, you'll see it in the grade book. And once you have a grade assigned, either if it's not an acceptable proposal at this point, you'll have a 0, and you'll get a chance to go back and revise it and fix it and get the full 20 points, or you'll have a grade of somewhere between 0 and 20, depending on how complete your proposal is. And once you have a grade, you know that it has been graded. I've looked at it. And what I'll do is I will go through and I will use the Turnitin tool to leave some comments on your paper and what you need to do to improve it, to get it correct, to get it appropriate proposal, these sort of things. So you need to follow those instructions very carefully. So in today's lesson, and again, this will be this afternoon, I'll post these as soon as I can, there'll be a set of instructions about how to use Turnitin to view the comments from your instructor. Okay, so wait for that, wait for my comments, and then look at the comments and then start figuring out what you need to do in order to get your proposal up to snuff. So let me just say a few words about the proposal. The handout itself is in Lessons. Let me open up that handout. Okay, so here we have the proposal handout, and most of you did a great job of going through and following this format. Some of you have really beautiful reports at this point. You've got abstracts, you've got the whole sort of thing, but one of the things you need to do between now and Thursday, a week from today, is make sure that you are, if you're not at this point, make sure you're following these instructions carefully about how the report should appear. That's my first observation. Out of the 15 reports that were submitted, I'd say about 3 or 4 of them are already in proper APA format, but the rest of you obviously are just trying to get your outline, you're just trying to key me in on what your service is going to be, which is fine, but you're going to see comments from me saying you got to flesh these sections out more carefully, you got to follow APA format. So don't forget that the report should come in these sections, and this is how most of you structured your draft proposal today, but you have to have a section where you talk about your own skills inventory. Just follow the instructions in the handout as best as you can. And then the inquiry, and in a first glance I've noticed that the papers themselves, some of them probably, this is an area between now and Thursday that you're going to want to do more background research. You're going to want to make more of a case for the problem in your area. If you're writing about hunger I need to see some cited reports about hunger. If you can't find specific statistics in your region, and they're available through the U.S. Census, there really are quite a few demographic maps and things that are, and some of them are in the resources area of our course. You can get quite a bit of evidence and material to support your points about homelessness, hunger, kids being on the loose in the summer, needing some guidance, community beautification and cleanup, all these sort of things. There's lots of external articles and things that you can do to bring in to try and support your point about why there is this problem. You can prove that the problem exists and what you're going to be able to do in order to make it an area that is worth a service learning project. Then part 3, this is where thankfully most of you spent quite a bit of time thinking about what you're actually going to do, your action plan, and in your final proposal, obviously this is going to have to be fleshed out fully. Don't forget the timeline and task list. You have to account for those 15 hours. Make sure that you fill out the ALPS, the action learning plan from your book. That's not appearing in some of your reports yet, so that will need to be completed. And make a strong case that you'll be able to do this service. This is a persuasive part of the paper. It needs to be well written. It needs to be well argued. And then finally, the 4th part of the paper is this research component. So you have to have a bibliography of resources, and only a couple of you had much in this area so far in your paper. So that's probably an area that most of you are looking to flesh out before Thursday. There's quite a few points involved in this part of the handout, in this part of the assignment. You know, it's 25% of your grade for the bibliography. So you want to make sure that you are doing a lot of work in order to find those sources. And I don't know how familiar you all are with APA format. There are resources that are posted in the resources folder in Unit 2 that focus on APA formatting. There are documents there with model reports, and there are documents there that should help you organize some of your research and show you how it is to do an annotated bibliography. And of course there's that link to the Purdue OWL site where you can get more information on how to do an annotated bibliography. So it's important that you have, I know it's a challenging thing, but you need to find 10 sources on your subject. They don't necessarily all need to be directly related to your community or your specific area. As long as you can make a case that these help you frame the problem and explore this element, this is the inquiry, this is the learning part of the service learning project. And 5 of these sources really need to be library sources. They need to be articles, newspaper articles, journal articles, not just stuff from web pages on the internet. 5 of your sources can be more of those generalized, reliable internet sources, but 5 of them need to be academic, scholarly, library type sources, okay? And you need to follow the format, and basically what you're doing is you're making a list of your sources, and obviously some of these sources are being referred to in your report, particularly in part 2 where you're doing this inquiry and you're trying to show that there's a problem. And it does say here, make sure that you cite these sources at the end of your report in APA format. So you should have a list of sources already on the docket here. What you need to do now is include a brief description or summary of what each source is. That's your annotation, about 200 words long for each source. Yes, this is a major element of the course. It's a major requirement. It's not easy. It's a challenge, but it's one that I want to see you engaging in so that we have some sense of your ability to do some basic research. To help you with this, be aware that there is a link off to the side for the library, and as long as you are signed in on your CSC account, you can access the databases here and do a search and get lots of great, really robust academic articles. So that, don't forget that that's a resource that's available to you. Email me if you have questions. I'm here to help you. And in the meantime, have a safe holiday, fun holiday weekend. Be careful, be safe, and I'll see you back here on Tuesday.